I love nothing more than on the weekends when I have a minute to just totally unplug. The kids are up watching a movie, maybe Gus is having a nap, and I get to sit down and just relax for a minute. And then I get to think about, okay, what are we gonna have for dinner? And I love having a minute. You know, this isn't realistic for me all the time. You know, sometimes it's just, whoa, get home, whip it together, just like you're doing. But I love when I get to sit down and really think about what it is I'm gonna make. I think I'm making the dogs hungry. So I've been thinking about this chicken salad because, of course, in our family, it's always a matter of, is it something, okay, now the dogs are attacking. Is it something that the kids are going to want to eat? Is it something that sounds great to me and John? Because, you know, we make one dinner. It's not something for the kids and something for us. It's one dinner. And chicken salad is one of those things that I love and the kids love, and so I've given this one a great twist. I've put a few good notes down, and I think this is something that you guys are gonna like also. So when I'm in the kitchen, one of the first things I will do is I'll make myself a cup of tea, and I always light some candles, and I just feel like that is just something I have to do all the time. It relaxes me. You know, before you get into your whole cooking routine, do something for yourself. Grab something to drink in a pretty cup, light some candles, and allow the whole piece of making a meal to be wonderful, because food is as much about that kind of stuff as it is about getting your stuff out of the refrigerator and grabbing your pan. It's, you know, that's part of the deal, is you of course want to enjoy the whole process. You don't want it to feel like it's a great big chore. You really, truly want to enjoy it. So in my wonderful chicken recipe, and actually I've got to get these pine nuts going. One of my twists to this recipe, which makes me so excited, is pine nuts. And if pine nuts are not something that you guys are regularly using, they're so beautiful, wonderful little pine nuts. And all I do is I always toast any nut first before I use it, because I think it just brings out the flavor of the nut, and that is just so wonderful. And you know, these are just, one thing I will say about toasting pine nuts on the stovetop or in your oven is keep them moving, because if you don't keep them moving, I cannot tell you how many times I have done this, and then I go upstairs to throw another load of laundry, and I come back down and my pine nuts have burned, and you know, of course, that does me no good, because then I've got to toss them out and start all over again. So I've got these going, and I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to stay here and watch these babies. So I've got my chicken. I'm going to set my oven for 350, because the greatest thing about this chicken salad is that I roast the chicken. I think the taste of roasted chicken is yummy. So all I do, guys, is I just pour a little bit of olive oil on it. So I've got these things beautifully salted and seasoned, and that's what makes them so delicious. If you do a nice job seasoning them right now, it makes them so wonderful and yummy later. So I'm gonna pop these in the oven. Oh, I have to can't forget my pine nuts. Of course, I told you guys, it's so easy to walk away from these. I've got these on kind of a medium-low sort of a setting, so you can see they're just sort of starting to nicely brown, and I really want them to get that brown color, but it happens really quickly. So again, keep your eyes on it. I'm going to do a quick wash of my hands, and I'm gonna toss the chicken in the oven. Okay, oh, and I can see my pine nuts are definitely done. So you guys can see they are beautifully brown, nice and golden. So once they are done like that, just put them in a bowl, set them aside, because you don't want them to cook any further in your bowl. That's not gonna do you any good. So now I'm gonna grab a few more yummy goodies out of my refrigerator, because I've got a few more twists I'm adding into my salad. So I've got some lemons, and I've got some beautiful cilantro. And then, as they say in France, endive. I always used to love when my grandmother would, you know, my little French grandmother, how she would always say, Tracy, get the endive. And of course, in America, we call it endive, usually is what you hear people say. But I love endive because it has a marvelous crunch to it. And it's not something people typically put in salads. A lot of times what you'll do with it is serve the whole leaf like this, and you can use it like as a great dipper. It is so good like that. I love it. All I do with it, and what I'm doing for this, is I peel off the outer leaves, right? And then I just cut this little end off. And then all I'm going to do is just slice it up because it makes the prettiest little crunchiness into the salad. And you know, a lot of times in chicken salad, you'll see people using celery. Of course, it's like the natural thing to put in chicken salad. But you know me, I can't help myself. I've always got to throw that twist in it. So I'll get my endive cut up, and then I'm going to show you this yummy dressing that is going to be so good. Okay, now I'm going to make this yummy dressing, and this dressing is great because it's very, very simple and quick, and this is a dressing that you guys could use on just about anything. So I've got a couple of shallots here, and I'm just going to finely mince my shallots. So all I do with my shallots is, this is just, you know, so simple. I go in on them like this, and I'm just looking for like a little tiny, tiny dice, and this is just the easiest little trick. I turn it, I go in this way, cut in on it, right? And then all I do is just cut it, and it falls into this marvelous small dice, which is actually so perfect for my salad. So, you know, I'm just looking for about 1/4 cup of shallots. Okay, so once I've got that done, then I also have lemons. I think lemons are also so wonderful in any dressing. And all I'm going to use actually is the zest of the lemon, because that to me is just a wonderful way to get the lemon into it. And I've got a microplane. If this isn't something that you have, just use, you know, any kind of grater that you've got. And all I'm trying to do is just grate off the very outside. I don't want to get into any of the white pithy part, because, you know, that's not very tasty for any of us. So we just want that beautiful, wonderful, I'll just show you this pretty, pretty part. Oh, and it smells, it's like summer in a bowl. So I just want to get a good couple of tablespoons. I mean, well, maybe about a tablespoon it's going to end up being. It would be tough to get a couple of tablespoons out of 2 lemons. But just to get this in here is just a wonderful, wonderful flavor. So while this dressing for the chicken salad may not be your ordinary dressing, I think that you guys will really love it. Now, one of the things that I love to do is, so I've got my beautiful lemon zest, and it's so pretty, and I wish you could smell it. I'm always willing you guys to smell everything and taste everything. I'm sure you can, right through the camera. So then I put mayonnaise, and I love, if I don't have time to make a homemade mayonnaise, which I love homemade mayonnaise so much. This is marvelous too. This is organic mayonnaise. I also love safflower mayonnaise. And I put a little bit of Dijon mustard, which is also quite lovely in this. And then I add a little bit of tarragon vinegar, and I'll get that all mixed up. And, oh, I can't forget my pepper. A little pepper in here. And all I'm doing, in fact, I'm actually going to whisk this because I will show you how much more beautiful it gets. So I'm just going to whisk this up, and I'm basically making this yummy dressing, and I can smell the tarragon. I'm going to throw my shallots in. So my other little twist on this salad, it's very yummy. It's so Frenchy and delicious. Is I've got a big yummy bunch of cilantro. I'm just going to rinse it off. All I do usually is shake off the water. Just make sure you get it off, because you don't want a really watery dressing. And, oh, I'm going to get my mezzaluna. And I'm just going to do a really, really rough chop on the cilantro. I mean, you barely need to chop it at all. So when I'm talking about a rough chop, I really mean a rough chop. I mean, I just go over this like a couple of times, and that is it. So that's it. And I'm just going to check and see if my chicken is done. And that's about as simple as this salad gets. I mean, really, I'm going to shred the chicken. I'll show you what I mean. And then we will toss it all together, and we will have a taste. So the chicken is done and it's beautiful and it smells incredible. And you know, again, the cool thing about this is you've basically got roasted chicken and that makes the salad so much more interesting. So I'm going to show you all that I do is I prefer my chicken salad shredded. I don't know, you know, it's one of those oddball things. We all have our own way of wanting to eat things. And when I shred chicken, I'm going to just really quickly show you, all I do is just get in there with a knife and a fork, and I just start pulling it apart. And I don't know what my thing is, but I guess for some oddball reason, I feel sometimes like cubed chicken. I don't know, it feels a little bit out of a can to me, but shredded chicken feels kind of Frenchy and cool, and I think it makes for like a really interesting texture. So I'm gonna shred this and then I will put this gorgeous salad together with you. So I've got my chicken shredded. I want to tell you guys this, that if you have that extra minute while you're making your whole chicken salad, I prefer to shred with my hands because I think it's easier, but I'm one of those people who likes to get in there with my hands anyways and kind of, you know, I mix everything with my hands, but I just think it's easier to pull apart with my hands. Maybe it's the monkey in me, I don't know. But if you can, pull it out of the oven and let it cool for a little bit and then go and do your dressing and all that business, you might find it just to be a little bit easier, because sometimes it's clumsy to shred with a fork and a knife. It just kind of feels weird. So I've got my lovely pile of chicken and I've got my endive, which is all beautiful and cut, and it's so pretty. Pretty salad. So all I do, guys, is I just throw the chicken in the bowl and dump in the cilantro. Beautiful. And then add this gorgeous dressing. Now this is the time, when you get to decide, do you need more dressing or not? Are you a lots of dressing kind of family? Or are you a little dressing kind of family? And this is also the time, like that, it's just so yummy and beautiful. I'm just gonna give it a quick taste before I throw it in another bowl and just see if I need a little bit more. And I need a tiny bit more vinegar. So, you know, that's the thing, you guys, is always make sure that you are doing the seasoning to your taste. If you don't like so much salt in your diet, then don't put as much salt in it. If you like a lot of pepper, like I do, then put more pepper on it. You know, and just season it to your taste. And I just think you guys are gonna find this to be such a beautiful salad. Once I mix it in a bowl like this, and this is a very lovely glass bowl, of course, but I always like to use like an even prettier bowl. Just part of who I am. You guys know, like all those little details. So I usually find that instead of mixing it in my pretty bowl, if I mix it in a plain bowl and then I dump it into my pretty bowl, I just find it all works out a little bit better. And look at how pretty. Oh, and it just smells so good. Oh, of course, it is so me. Of course, I forgot my pine nuts, naturally. It was the star of the show. Of course I did. It seems like every other recipe I'm forgetting some kind of ingredient. Make sure you keep your ingredients in front of you. Well, all right, I already told you to mix it in a different bowl, but that's okay. Throw them in there. Mix them up. Look at how pretty those pine nuts. They also add another really pretty texture. All right, now I have to have like another taste with the pine nuts. So pretty. Okay, so one of the things I love about making a chicken salad, of course, is what are you gonna serve it on? For me, I love open-faced sandwiches, so a nice piece of toasted sourdough is like the perfect yummy bite to have with chicken salad. So I'm gonna pop them in the toaster, get them a little toasted up, and then we'll have ourselves a beautiful sandwich.
In your misty gray hours with the longing in my belly, down to the catalog of weepy songs that held as my companion far, far too long. Damn, damn, be gone, be gone.
Now this is the perfect way to end my afternoon. A big stack of magazines, you know I love that. A beautiful glass with some water, some candles, and a little schnivel of a sandwich is so perfect for me. And I have to say, you guys know, it's so key. Take a minute out of every day for you, no matter what you do or who you are. If you don't take a little bit of time for you, you can't be more of who you want to be. As a mama of 4 boys, let me tell you, I need to find some selfish time in my day for me, and that helps me be what I need to be. Now let's taste the sandwich. I gotta get a little bite of those pine nuts. And the cilantro is so good. This is all about spoiling oneself. Do that for yourself. Spoil yourself. As for me, I might sit here for a few hours, have my sandwich. I would be so content just to take a nap and fall asleep right in this chair.